It is time. Time to do some pruning. What are you talking about? Hey, let's look at some freight right after this. Stay tuned. Good morning. Look at that windshield. That was a cold, rainy day. I was trying to get home before the freezing rain hit, and I dropped the trailer just in time and got home. That's what that video was. You know, if I don't know if you guys know this or not, but if you've been only watching the channel for the last couple of years and you only know me being behind, like looking like this, I have a whole playlist of GoPro vlogs that I did when I was driving, you know, basically talking about my day, mixing some music with some time-lapse driving. I had fun doing those. Those don't get a lot of views because, you know, who wants to watch the road go fast to heavy metal music? But that was what I did. There was a few of us that were doing vlogs like that. And that was just kind of what the first generation of YouTube truckers were doing. They were a lot more creative than just sitting at the microphone and talking about, you know, how good or how crappy things are, or making fun of people and all that stuff. So anyways, go check it out. So after this, of course, don't do it now, but after this, go, you know, if you're bored, go to the GoPro vlogs and look at what I used to do. So, and also Morning Coffee Live is an evolution from my Morning Coffee Thoughts. You know, this is before I could go live. I think I started those before you could go live on YouTube. And if you went live on YouTube, you had to have a certain number and you had to have a certain good phone. You know, I didn't have any of that. So, Morning Coffee Thoughts is what I started doing. So it's basically 5 or 10 minutes of going blah, 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 you know, do this, do that, whatever. And then that evolved into Morning Coffee Lives. If I was on the road, I would do it in the morning, not a set time. I thought, man, I'll just do that when I get home. And voila, here we are. I've got a microphone, I got headphones, so I look official, and we go over spot market stuff because I am entrenched in this, and so, yeah, there you go. And some people actually value what I have to say, and I appreciate those people. So, but anyways, good morning. I hope all is well. I was not on here Monday because I had a medical procedure I was taking care of, so I was in no mood or nor any condition to go live or do anything. So that was fun. Not. But we're here today. I still need to cut up the video. If you missed it on Friday, we did a really good interview with CDN Freight Broker, and we also looked at some freight. It was almost a 2-hour feed, I believe, and we had a pretty good crowd in there. So make sure you check the replay of that out. If not, if you don't want to go through all the hubbub, then I plan on cutting that video up today and tomorrow and try to make some stuff out of it. Other than that, excuse me, I forgot to mute the mic. It's been an interesting several days. My main driver right now has been dealing with a lot of bad luck at these shippers and receivers. I mean, it's been crazy. 4 and 5 and 6 hours for 7 and 8 pallets, that kind of stuff. And it really has screwed with not only his revenue, but my sanity. So, because what happens is you're supposed to deliver at 8 a.m., and you think, okay, well, we can book something at noon. Well, now we're not getting out till 4 or 5, and boom, now you can't seem to shake that. Because here's what I've noticed, and this is one of the topics I'm going to hit on. And what I've noticed is that you can almost see the brokers who've underquoted their customers. Because what I'm seeing is they're scrambling at the last minute to try to push these loads. I saw a lot of team loads pop up all of a sudden, which means that these are 800-mile loads that they've waited till the absolute last minute to ship. And CDN can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of brokers have underquoted. Their race to the bottom is now affecting them. And proof of that is what happened to Convoy. Convoy was doing things at a loss just so they can get the market share. And Uber did too, and I'm going to get into Uber here in a second. And now they're paying the price because now they've created rates that are unsustainable, and the shippers are like fat and happy, like, hey man, this is awesome. If you can move this for $1.40 a mile, let's do it. And the brokers are like, I'm desperate for your work, so yes, I will move it for that. And guess what? They're starting to lose carriers. People are starting to find other ways, and that's what the title of the video comes from. The title of the video was inspired by my little devotional thing this morning, but we have to cut the fruit or the branches that are not bearing fruit. I mean, that's what has to happen in both the brokers and the carriers, and that's when things will start to balance out. I see owner operators that they just need to just drop off. They just need to go. They're destroying their lives. They're destroying their health, and they're in debt, and there's no way out for them. And there's no getting out of this. Even if we went back to 22 levels, they can't be saved. So it's time to cut those. And I say that with grace. I say that with love because I know what it's like when something's not working. But being able to recognize that and be honest with yourself to know, you know what, this isn't working. It's time to go. And the people that are willing to stay in the trenches and fight and go forward and do what needs to be done, even though it's not comfortable, those are the people that need to thrive and succeed. But hey, what do I know, right? What do I know? I'm just a guy that sold his truck because I wanted to be out of it, and I enjoyed the job that I'm doing. Jeff's got me pretty busy here lately. running Raycon. So it's not that I'm only seeing when I'm dispatching my trucks, but I'm seeing what other drivers are going through. I'm seeing what rates that they're doing. I'm seeing their strategies. And I can tell you, as a matter of fact, that the map that I show on 123 almost matches exactly what I see on Samsara. And of course I can't show the Samsara screen on here, but for privacy reasons. But I will say this, that when you look at where all the trucks are at, it's reflecting what I'm seeing in the market. And right now, there's a few things that happened that was weird last week that threw me for a loop. I have never had such a hard time trying to get a truck out of Ohio and not be at a loss. And when I'm looking at Ohio, and I'll get to the comments here in a minute. When I'm looking at Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and their volume numbers are like crap, I'm like, wow. Because it happens a couple of times a year, but every time it does, it always I don't know, it's just like, oh, it's gonna rain today, man, and I got to be out in it. It's kind of like it's like that. But when it happens, man, it just knocks me on my butt. So, but what I've noticed yesterday is that volumes have come back in the Midwest states, and we're gonna go over that. Well, not all Midwest states. Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin, strangely enough, are still in the crapper when it comes to vans. So hopefully those markets will wake up a little bit, but if not, you're going to struggle to get out of those places for a decent rate. And I noticed that pickup and delivery times are all over the place. I'm not seeing as many open window loads as I would like. And that's been affecting me as well. So, anyways, good morning. Hope all is well. It is Wednesday, May 15th. Is that right? May 15th. And, so let's get into the comments here. Say hi to everybody. I appreciate everybody that comes in. I appreciate the thumbs up. Engagement is what makes the YouTube algorithms go, this is cool. So, it's not about how many subs. It's not about how many likes. It's about engagement. My friend Sterling taught me that with the video he sent me. So with that being said, let's look at the comments here. WCF Invader, yes, he says with enthusiasm. Cheap Freight Hauler, good morning. Best dispatcher ever. No. I do not deserve that title. And that's not me knocking on myself. That's me I'm just a dude that can look at things. Because I'm not driving. I don't know what that looks like if you're driving and having to deal with all the email. Like yesterday I was chatting with a bot, probably. I think it was a human because they were asking some specific questions, but it was Ultra Logistics. You get on their website and you have a chat with somebody. Like here's what these digital platforms have figured out. The Ubers and the Convoys and the JB Hunts and the Coyotes and the CH Robinsons, what they figured out is if English isn't your strong language, then it's just easier to look at everything on a screen or have a conversation via email, because there's a lot of brokers using people that English isn't their first language as well. A lot of outsourcing going on as well. And it's just easier that way, right? And so I'm seeing a lot of, they figured that out, that it's easier. Now, what I do like about a lot of the click and goes is I can see the times. So, for example, if I'm trying to look for a load that doesn't pick up till after 5 p.m., well, I can get on CH Robinson's board, I can get on Coyote and see all the loads that will or will not load after 5 p.m. Whereas if I get on a low board like 123 low board or DAT, a lot of brokers aren't posting that information. So there's a lot of wasted phone calls when I need something that specific, and that's the challenge. So that's been the challenge for the last couple of days because of the situations that our drivers been thrown into because of shippers and receivers taking their sweet time. Gen Z, what's up? Good morning. Charity Todd, good morning. Dying Bree, what's up, my friend? Good morning. Jose, what's up? My name is Nobody. STTN, morning, sir. Unloading a 1-and-1 this morning. Been a while since I just had one drop. I know. Does that feel weird? Like, did you bump a dock even? Man, I love this song. Tolga, what's up? Oi, oi. I'm going to have to back in time and watch some of those. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's talking about the GoPro vlogs. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed doing them. They were a labor of love. And if you go to my OG channel, I started back then. I was doing those 15 years ago. So I enjoyed them, because I love driving. I love music. So why not combine the two? But then I got into, and here's how it started. So this channel that you're watching now, I had the OG channel going, and that's where I did my vlogs and stuff. But then when I became owner-operator, I thought, well, I'm going to create a separate channel for this. It was actually my full name. That was the name of the channel. And people didn't know who that was, so I started using the Snorlord title again. And just let the other channel just kind of sit there and rot for a minute. And it was just a talking head video about what I was going through. And I deleted all those videos because of a troll, and I regret that now. But only one Landstar video survived, and that's the CB radio one, which isn't about Landstar, but it was during that time. And when I was at Schneider, I had to be careful, because Schneider has a big, no distraction policy. So I had to make sure I wasn't doing anything stupid that would get me fired. But Schneider does pay attention to the social media. And you have to be aware of that, because they're on Facebook, making sure you're not posting the low board. They're in the office making sure that drivers aren't doing live streams going down the road, and or have the camera in their hand if they're taking pictures of accidents or something and post them on Facebook. They're savvy to that for the most part. I mean, I think a few get through the cracks, but anyways, so I was really careful with the GoPro stuff on that. Then as I got in the spot market, I had a little bit more freedom. Not that I had a camera in my hand or anything like that while driving, but I was able to talk about the loads a little bit more. It wasn't as secretive. I could show what I was going through on the low boards and all that. So and I enjoyed doing those. And then when the live thing started, when YouTubers were able to start streaming live, it was a great way to pass the time. It was a great way to BS with your friends and all that stuff. And so I try to do a combination. Now, I'm not great at recorded videos now. Obviously, I'm not driving, so, but this channel has evolved over time. Some people like the evolution, some people don't. So, and that's fine. That's how YouTube is. The crowd is fickle. They'll like me this year, but not next year. James G, good morning. Chief Freyhaller, going to go back and watch Morning Coffee Lives from a couple of years ago, reminiscing of when you could throw a dart on the map and get $5 a mile, right? Jeremy Rice, good morning. T-Bone, good morning. Niagara Water had a system shutdown yesterday. Trucks were lined up to Highway 150. Wow. Yeah, so the solar weather, I don't know if you guys, I highly recommend a channel called Suspicious Observers on YouTube, and he goes over the solar weather, and he's got a great Twitter page, or X, and that was probably related. There's been a lot of system-wide shutdowns, some GPS malfunctioning, so I'm curious to know if any of you guys have had any GPS issues. But the solar weather that's creating the auroras, that you can see in Florida and all that, that's probably a contributor to that. By the way, I hope you got your coffee. I don't have my bag of Snorlord coffee because I had to open it and get into it. But I'm gonna have two different bags mounted right there, and it'll be both flavors. At the request of Shannon, she wanted another flavor. Speaking of Shannon, praise God, everybody, good morning. Po boy, snore dude dispatching, aka trucking undertaker. That's an interesting take on it, but I'll take it. Morning all. I'm heading to Earth City, Missouri today. Good St. Louis. If are you gonna go even more west on 44 there, David? If so, we'll hang out. We'll have lunch or something. Saying hi to Shannon, Justin. What's up? Good morning, Romeland. Good morning. I seen a Macon, Georgia area to Chicago area yesterday for 2,800. Good times around here. Yes, the Southeast. People don't believe me. I said, go to Atlanta. Go to Savannah. Get your freight out of there. Go north and south. Then it's a lot easier than like even Missouri. Like, and I'll show a map that reflects exactly what I'm talking about. It's interesting to see these observations. Or to have these observations, and then DAT or somebody else will put out a map. I'm like, there it is. That's exactly what I'm seeing. Wow. So it's just about being aware. The market guy will say when, right, Po boy? How many dudes are on with Jeff? Are you talking about males in general, or like how many trucks do we have? We're over 20 trucks. So, and we have several ladies here, so we have, we have 3 ladies here. So, I parked my truck, Urban Network. I'm currently pulling tanker. I just had to say no to cheap van freight. Florida van drivers ran the market dry. I pulled the plug. Urban Network, good luck to you, man. I know that tanker will do you well. I know several people have made that move, and they're doing all right now. So, David says, I will be lurking and listening. Greg Zimmer, good morning. Speaking of tankers, what's up, my friend? On my truck, Jose, the def quality sensor is out, and it could be a couple of things with that code, and I'm thinking of not fixing it because the rate is not worth it. That's a decision. That's a decision that a lot of drivers are making right now. One of my friends had was going down the road, and he was told that he was blowing oil all over the place, and it looked really bad for him, tow truck and all. But then it was just a little rubber piece that came off the housing, and he was back on the road. And I told him, I said, dude, this was a blessing. He goes, yeah, I don't have to get a new engine or a new turbo or anything. I said, no, the blessing is now you're thinking of the next step. Like, okay, what if this is a blown engine? What I'm going to do? And now that seed's been planted on what the next phases are. What are you willing and not willing to do? And so, Snore Dude, as a spot market dispatcher, you've come a long way. More intel than a logistics degree, kiddo. Po boy, I appreciate the compliment. I think that it helps that I'm still in the trenches, right? My revenue, besides the safety manager, counts on the success of other people. So if the driver's not successful, I don't get money, right? So, and I'm not just booking a load with me being the first priority. Like, I could sit there and like, oh, I got you a $4,000 load going to Washington State. No, I'm not doing that. And a lot of these dispatch services are doing it. But coming from the perspective of a driver, I think is important. You know, and my biggest worry is that I will lose touch with my driver side the longer I'm out of the truck. And I don't want to lose that, because I think that that's what gives me an edge over these dispatch services that have never driven a truck. They don't know about the hours of service, you know, and the brokers that I talk to like talking to me because of I can give them the driver perspective. And it's just a matter of just being empathetic and sympathetic and just trying to, you know, I know what it's like to sit at a truck stop with anxiety and not being able to pay your bills. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to deal with the down market. I know what it's like to deal with an up market. You know, in my own truck, I was making $1,000 a day, and I never had to leave the states of Missouri and Arkansas. It was a good time. And so I appreciate the compliment, po' boy, but I'm not doing anything special other than trying to understand and willing to learn and willing to see what things are like on the other side. And, and realizing what the brokers are going through too, not just seeing them as the enemy or the other side. I'm seeing them as like, okay, if you're 100% spot market, guess what? You got to work with brokers. And I don't understand the people that get into the spot market and say they hate dealing with brokers. I mean, I benefit from that. But you have to at least understand the game that you're getting into. So, but I appreciate the compliments, po' boy. Yes, Bump the Doc also had a hard time hitting it square. Does it okay, Pam? Good morning. The question I'd like to answer for you to answer is how you came up with your long YouTube name. Okay. This is kind of dumb, but I'll get into it. So it was me being a smart aleck. That's it. Because there was a time where everybody was obsessed, like they wouldn't let it go with Red Viking Trucker. Like, I don't know the dude personally. I don't agree with his tactics. Everybody else was trying to tear him down and pranking him, and it was just horrible. And Little Viking Coach, or now known as LVC, he did a parody. He was a combination of several YouTubers. Little, and then Viking, and then Coach. So, and so with the beard, as the beard got longer, people said, you look like a Viking. I said, you know what? I'm going to become a Viking as well. I'm going to put Viking in my title, right? But then people started to say I look like a caveman because I don't trim my beard. Some people like to call me homeless, and which I've seen some clean shaven homeless people. So, but regardless, right? And so I tacked on caveman on that, and I am a metalhead. I'm like, I'll just keep going. And there was a time where I was on a live feed, and one of the bigger YouTubers like, hey, Steve, can your name get any longer? And it can. So I made it longer. So it just stuck. I just keep it that way, just to annoy everybody. And so that's how I came up with the name. Now the name Snorlord comes from some friends of mine in Arkansas. And I've told that story, and we'll tell it again, but that's more for the OG channel. So. Big Orange Mafia knows where Jimmy Hoffa is located. I bet. Mac the Trucker, what's happening, man? How you doing? Rodney Dirty, what up from Louisville, Kentucky? In a weird way, I miss the glory drama days in trucking YouTube genre. Yeah, it was cool until we started doxing and people started stabbing each other. So it was cool till we got to that point. So. But also the name Trucker, the name Viking, and the, created clicks, because of all these, they were buzzwords in the trucking community. So I'm going to hit every tag I can. And then the caveman actually comes from the fact that I do run the caves a lot here in Springfield. So I was in and out of Springfield Underground all the time. And I used to go in and out of Geospace quite a bit, and man, I avoid that like the plague, and I try not to send it. If I see a load that pays well, I'll call a driver and say, hey, are you familiar with Geospace caves? And they're like, yeah. Do you want to go in them? Nope. Okay. Well, then I won't book this load. So, but now people get swatted. I'm sure that's fun. Yeah, I mean, that happened to Pale Rider. Pale Rider he opened this door and there were guns drawn on him from the police. I mean, because, and if you go to Pale Rider's channel, he played that 911 call. That was the swatting. So, you just got to be careful out there. So, all right, let's take a look at, I want to go over an email that is sent to me every week by a good friend. And what this does is it goes over some. It's like a good general overview, and he sends this to me for content and also for for me, for my benefit, and he sends it to several of us. Jeremy Rice says James Best on YouTube. Not as much. I've heard he's went to Rumble, so I think he's on Rumble now. So, all right. Good morning. I wanted to. Oh, okay. Let me share the screen here, so we're not all dumb here. I know this StreamYard's been kind of wonky here lately as well. All right, so here's this. Good morning. I want to share some articles on the conditions of the current freight market. Links to article at the bottom of the email. And we won't get into that, but there's some interesting things here. Number one, this is the overall market. This needle is starting to kind of like show some life. Now look at the flatbed. Flatbed is almost in neutral territory, and reefer has gone up a little bit. This is probably due to produce. It's becoming into the season. But then van was like practically hitting this easier to find truck mark, but it's coming up a little bit. Now, the problem is there's still too many trucks, so it's soaking up that extra loads that are coming out. So the load to truck ratio is still too not in our favor, right? And then, of course, this is the national spot rates on DAT. You can find this information on DAT trend lines. $1.99 is what they're saying van is, and it's held steady from May to April. And same thing with reefer, $2.52 in May to April. Flatbed's actually gone up from $2.33 to $2.35. Now, people can say these numbers don't matter. In a way, they don't, but it just shows you the trends. That's what I'm looking at. I'm not sitting there like, well, every load I should do should be at least $1.90. No, I'm not doing that. I'm looking at, okay, what can I expect? Because these averages come from long haul and short hauls. For every $1.40 a mile going to Washington, you have a $3 mile going to Kansas City from Springfield. There's all that, right? So I look at the trends, and obviously we're trending down from February. So this is what should be noted. This should be going up gradually, not down. And they are really driving these rates down. And guess what? Now I think it's starting to bite them in the butt. So, okay, this is green screens. I haven't studied this little thing here, but 123 low board 48065 for my code has a green screens AI, and we'll get into that as we show that. But like Chicago to Laredo, average length 1358. 30-day average, $1.43 a mile. Green screens network rate is $1.45. 30-day trend is showing up. Chicago to Kansas City, 208 a mile. It's trending down. And so this is the AI pricing. Green screens network rate is an AI predictive spot rate for 5/13/2024. A 30-day historical trend is not always indicative of future price actions. Market conditions, seasonality, etc., may impact current price movement. Now, if the brokerage is using this AI pricing, the computer's telling them where they need to put the rates at. The computer's telling them, hey, you can move this lane for $1.40 a mile, and they're charging the customer $1.80. So, that's how this game works. And this AI, there's not much you can do about it because you're all on ELDs. You're all on those tracking apps. It's a necessary evil to do business today. And the more you can insulate yourself from these trends, the better. And that can be done. Now, this is the Baltic Index. I'm not sure. I really haven't studied this map a whole lot. I believe this is the price to ship a container. And it's on an upswing. So now, this is, if you guys don't know, and I haven't mentioned it yet, but I did mention it short, that's actually doing pretty good on the popularity scale. DOT. Today is the final day of DOT Blitz. In theory, Now, as my short said, it's usually the week before, the week during, and the week after that the blitz is going on. They just tell you 3 days so they can, like, the trucks that, like, definitely don't want to be DOT'd, they stay home, which is fine. What's funny is my wife would always get vacation time in June. And so I always made sure I was home. And it always coincided that this is completely legit. It always coincided when the blitz was in June, but they seem to be doing earlier and earlier every year. So, but it does affect rates a little bit because there's less trucks on the road. So, indicative of the fact that supply and demand, people. And then I'm not sure what that graph is. So logistic managers, I have no idea what that means. The takeaway is that pricing moved into the contraction territory for the first time in 2024. So I think that's a good thing. I could be wrong though. Look at this chart. What's it say? The below chart shows the Q1 numbers reported by CargoNet for cargo theft. There's your cargo theft reports. Look at that. And it goes back go back to Friday's replay, and you'll see CDN talking about these things. Top target location: warehouse, distribution centers, and parking lots. And top target commodity type: food and beverage and household goods. Food and beverage, CDN explained why that was. And if the economy takes the true dump that they're saying it's going to take, I think that's going to increase because people get hungry. So, they're not going to ransack stores for Gucci purses. They're going to ransack stores for basic necessities. And I'll get to the comments. I'll get back to the comments here. Now, reefer market conditions. Now, on this map, red is good, blue is bad. The lighter the shade, the slower it is. So as you can see, the hot spots are Dallas, Louisiana, a little bit in the Tennessee Valley there, a little bit Miami, probably because of the flowers and produce, and then Michigan. So there's got to be a reason why Michigan's red, why it's good. And of course, Missouri is in a light shade here, and then California doing its thing, and then Idaho and Utah look like they're waking up. So that's good. But here's something. Here's a flatbed. Southeast, southeast, southeast. If you're a flatbedder and you're not running the southeast, you're doing it wrong. That's all I got to say. Southeast, flirt with a little bit of this Midwest. Like a good lane would be like Columbus to Georgia and back. Or maybe Dallas to North Carolina. Maybe northern Arkansas to Jacksonville. Southeast, southeast, southeast in flatbed. Actually, I'm doing that wrong. Don't go to the southeast. There's no freight down there. Can't get a good, decent rate out of there. Don't go there. Don't go to the southeast. Ha. Dry van. Now, this is interesting. The southwest Missouri and northwest Arkansas market is good. The rest of Arkansas is actually doing okay. Kansas City market is doing okay. Dallas and Houston are doing okay. The rest of Texas is kind of crap. Laredo is not doing great at all, which is surprising. I mean, it's a little bit yellow, but then Florida and Florida's red, so Florida's got a lot of freight coming out, and then Nevada and California, of course, are doing their thing. Southern California, Mid California, Northeast. I wouldn't go beyond this little yellow spot in New York. After that, you're fighting for scraps there. And then Minnesota is surprising. This surprises me because every time I looked at the freight volumes in the state of Minnesota, they're pretty bad. Same thing with Iowa. Look at Iowa. It's predominantly blue with a little bit of yellow. But again, What have I been saying for the last 2 weeks? Southeast, southeast, southeast. Now, just because it's red doesn't mean you're going to get a good rate. In other words, if you go from Georgia to California, they still only want to pay you $1.50 a mile. Even though, because they think, oh, you're going to get good freight out of LA. Yeah, but what if I don't? I need my rate now. I need to have a steady rate above a certain number. So, but anyways, those are your maps on DAT. And these are maps that I don't pay for. Like, these are the maps that you get if you get the $100 or $200 version, whatever. So, now, Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance has announced May 14th, 16th. So, tomorrow's the last day of the year's International Road Trip. This will affect capacity as many drivers shut down during the week for this event. It's never too early to inform your customers. And I'm seeing evidence of that. They're having trouble covering these loads. And if it's a Walmart, Dollar General, whatever, those loads end up being team loads because they can't be late. So that's what it is, right? That's normal. And so next week's going to be interesting when people are going back to work that are avoiding the blitz. So, of course, it talks about national spot rate reported by DAT remained flat at $1.54 a mile, with natural fuel surcharge at 44 cents for a combined rate of $1.98 a mile. For van, it's $1.99. Flatbed is $2.52. Reefer is $2.35. Of course, that's what that one graph that we started with showed. National contract rate reported by T increased by 3 cents to $1.97. Now, without fuel. Now, I have noticed the other thing on the low boards is a lot of brokers are they're trying to quote their next wave of loads. They don't want to put those on the low board. So now there's a lot of loads that I called on like, oh yeah, this isn't a real load. I'm looking for trucks that want to do this every day. Okay. So, and it's annoying because, I won't get into that because partially I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do see that, right? Outbound tender rejects has decreased a little bit to 3.3%. We need to get up above 6% there, people. Van outbound tender reject is at 3.1. Flatbed outbound rejects are 17%. That's pretty high. Reefer outbound tender reject increased to 5.8. So everything is on upward trend except for van. So market data. Look for rates to increase as the Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance, CVSE Road Check, also known as DOT Blitz Week, kicks off. See the chart below for historical impact overview on spot rates, which we did. The first quarter of 24 seen a significant uptick in cargo theft. CargoNet's analysis reveals 925 incidents, 46% increase from the previous year, with a total loss of $154 million. Notable increases were recorded in Illinois with a 126% rise. California is at 72%, and Texas up by 22%. So California, Texas, and Illinois. Illinois is just not a great place, is it? I mean, it's just not. You hear about all the activity in Chicago, and it's just, I don't know, man. You got to be careful. And of course, it goes over. Now, here's the one I wanted to highlight. Uber Freight reported a loss of $21 million in the first quarter of 2024. Among other highlights in the quarterly earnings report, Uber Freight's revenue declined 8% to $1.28 billion, down from $1.4 billion. CEO, I'm not going to butcher that name, stated that he sees Uber Freight as more of a SaaS-like software as a service than a typical digital brokerage. In other words, they're trying to tell, oh, yeah, we're not that kind of thing. We're this. Yeah, that's it. We're redefining things. No, you're losing money because you don't know what you're doing sometimes. You're losing money because you're trying to drive rates down. And now you're not moving the loads, and now no customers want to use you. Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe your market share that you've acquired is now like it's losing you money. Maybe that's what happened. So they're following the same trend that Convoy did before they went under. So just be aware. And their detention policies have changed. They no longer pay after the load. Just be aware that there are big changes. And when you start seeing factory companies not factoring Uber, that's when you know that there's trouble. Just like Convoy. So just be aware. Do I like using Uber Freight? At times, yes. Especially when I'm looking for something specific at a time. I can look at the times. I can look at the customers. I can see what I'm getting into. And when they've got the hold on that particular group of loads, I have made good money with them. But then there's some stuff that they're trying to push that is a rate that's unsustainable. And this is the effect of that. If the brokers give the shippers a rate that is unsustainable for a truck and it's unsustainable for them, everybody loses. And it's the cycle that we're in. It's as simple as that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but that's what I'm seeing. That's what I've seen. And brokers are cutting each other's throats trying to get a hold of this business and trying to get it to where they know that the rates are going to come up. They know that capacity is going to tighten, and so they're trying their best to prepare for that. And if you're already at if you're already at a $21 million loss in the first quarter, that is not good. That is not good. Peloton has filed a Federal Maritime Commission complaint against Flexport, alleging that Flexport practices cost the fitness company millions of dollars in unreasonable charges. Isn't Flexport, aren't they the ones that bought Convoy? So, yeah, so I mean, just that's the world we live in. The brokers are struggling too. It's a race to the bottom on both sides, so you have to be able to insulate yourself from that. So let's go to let's delete this. Let's go to 123 low board. We'll look at some freight. Let's go back to comments here. And you guys have been commenting like crazy. Uh, 2-4. Good morning. Snore alert in chat. Good morning. Wimpy says the cops turned Pale Rider pale. He did. They did. CDN did not make that graph. It's just, look, he's got access to a lot of great information that goes deeper than just some drivers, looking at low boards. Pale Rider puckered up. Yeah. What goes down must go up. That's true. Just my novice observation is that the rates that have been getting, just my novice observation is that the rates I've been getting have increased a small amount. Yeah, same here. I mean, it's a little bit easier to get them up on the price, Fuel has been dropping a little bit. All new owner ops killing their truck for $1.48. By the time the rates go up, the truck needs replaced. Right. I agree with that. AI equals anti-industry. Those DOT tyrants will fill their quota. Yeah, they will. Why did they even announce a blitz? Well, it's to throw you off. So let me give you an example, Alman. So back in the glory days of the CB, people would go, "Hey, is the coops open? Are the coops open there westbound?" And they would go, "Yes," or "No." They would say, "No, they're closed." And you know what Missouri does? I don't know about other states, but you know what Missouri does? They flip the light open when they hear that. And how do I know that? So, it was my first year driving. I picked up a load that was 38,000 on the bills. It felt fine. My suspension gauge on the front looked good. I didn't have one for the back, for the trailer. I'm good. Put the tandems in the sweet spot. Rolled down the road. I'm on the phone with my wife, talking on my headset. And I go, hey, hon, I got to go. I'm going through the Joplin scale. So I hang up my headset. I get there. Driver, pull around back. Huh. That's weird. So I go around back. And they're like, do you realize you're 2,000 pounds over on your tandems? I'm like, no. Why didn't you scale it? Because it's 38,000. I just hauled 43 with the tandems in the same spot. He's like, you got to scale, blah, blah. They gave me this whole riot act, right? And what it was I had a 2-stop load, and they loaded the rear heavier, which is why my drive suspension showed okay. Had I had a scale on the back, I would have known that there was a problem. Now, I was too green to realize that the truck was driving funny or whatever. So tandems almost had to be almost all the way to the back to make it legal. While I was sitting there getting my punishment, I would hear they had a CB radio going, and they said, you would hear guys, hey, are the coops open? Nope, you're good to go. Because Joplin, there's other ways around, right? There's a way to get around the Joplin scales. Anyways, they flipped the switch. And the scale at Forestdale will actually like yell at you on the CB for asking if they're open or not. They do listen to the CB radio, even to this day, I believe. So anytime that someone goes, hey, are the coops open, they know to look out for the truck that's trying to avoid the scale. So I think that's why they announced the blitz, which is why they the week before and the week after is because they're trying to get the people that are avoiding the blitz. There you go. So that's why they announce it. And also they want to show the public, look what we're doing to make the roads a safer place. Well, that pothole that just stuck out my airline has a different story, right? So anyways, Don says, I'm so paranoid about theft, I lock my trailer even when empty. Learned that from FedEx. Yeah, because you don't want some homeless person getting in there and rummaging around in there. So, I mean, I always lock my trailer as well. So, that's a good move. If someone has been watching you, they won't know if you're loaded or empty. Yeah, and then that's the other thing. So capacity is stubborn, perfect storm. For some, they overpaid for their trucks and are trying not to repo. For others, they paid off their truck and boom, they can't hang around. They can now, because the ones with the paid off trucks are not able to put the money aside that they need for the repairs. But yeah, the ones that overpaid for their equipment those are the ones that are struggling right now, for the most part. So there you go. Cheap Freight says, so I shouldn't have booked that 6,200 load leaving the southeast going to Washington State. 6,200, that's a good rate. No, you're just going to take a hit coming out of Washington. So that's all I'm telling you. Thanks, Cheap Freight Hauler says, Don, I agree. I'm also concerned a few times I park empty that someone throws a tire or something in the trailer. I've never had that happen, but yeah. It also keeps someone from hitching a ride. Yep. If you live around the border, you're definitely savvy to that. You got to be. Pate Trucking, good morning. How are you, man? Boom, he says. Running the rates down causes this to be a broker-trucker fist fight. Now they complain about not finding trucks. Well, I say good. That's what happens when you run us out of business. So cents per mile. Nathaniel Grable. Good morning. Good morning, Nathaniel. I'm sorry if I butchered your last name. Good day, Fate. I concur, Snow Alert. Uber is the only broker I use quick pay on due to late payments and uncertainty. There you go. Ghost Cat, is it easier to do power only or better to have your own trailer? There's pros and cons of each, but I'd rather have my own trailer. When I went from Schneider to having my own trailer, it was nice in the sense that I wasn't going to show up at a customer and be missing 4 tires and brakes were cracked. But the downfalls to power only, especially if you're doing loadout trailers, is you can't like go to a broker and say, hey, I could do these next 100 loads, unless the broker themselves has the trailer. Like there are some setups like that. I know somebody that's doing that. But like the stuff that I was doing out of Denver, I couldn't have done that in the power only game. And that was good money. The stuff that I was doing out of John Deere, have to have my own trailer. And I couldn't do that with loadout branded trailers because they put nails in the floor on the Georgia stuff. So it's so that there are pros and cons. The pros to being power only is you don't have a trailer payment. That's it. But you are paying for the trailer interchange, and you are taking a higher risk with these customers that don't care whether your trailer is yours or not. And so there's a higher risk for damage. And we've actually experienced that here at Like Trucking. So, you have to be careful. So Gen Z, brokers aren't to blame for rates being low. Supply and demand, carriers not knowing their numbers. Change my mind if you can. There you go, Gen Z. It's a classic argument. It's supply and demand. I believe that. I am late to this party. Good morning, Steve. CDN, we were just talking about your email you sent me with all the charts and stuff. I've heard having a trailer on your insurance makes it cheaper even if you just haul power only. Not sure if it's true. I don't know. I've never taken off during the Blitz week. Good deal. Standing ground, I turned down $240 a mile on a legal load today so far. Specialized is worth more than that. Yes, it is. A10 Batman, what's up? Good morning. DIY Semi, good morning. Power only saves money on brakes, tires, and repairs. Also protects someone from damaging their trailer and taking you out. But if they damage the customer's, your broker's trailer, then that's now you got a cargo claim on. So I don't know. There's pros and cons to both sides. I like having the security of my own trailer, but I got my trailer before prices were stupid and it was a reasonable payment. So they have to announce roadblocks too. Probably something constitutional. These snakes would go stealth if they could, right? Downside is you might get a bad DOT inspection if you miss something on pre-trip, and then they may be less fuel efficient if they run recap tires or bad bearings or doesn't pull straight. There you go. So Gen Z is answering the question. I got a feeling some big contract carriers are going to downsize before fall. They already are. Schneider's announced it. JB Hunt's announced it. So it's happened. Sort of on that Georgia stuff, if you tell them not to B&B, they will let you strap it. Yeah, that's true. B&B means block and brace for those of you who don't know what he's talking about. But I've seen straps fail. so it's a risk either way, right? It's a risk either way. Josh Vegan, what's up? There's something else I was going to say, but I forgot. Anyways, let's take a look at the load. Let's take a look at some load availability stuff, and then let's get the screen up here. Share screen. All right, here we go. This is for all the trailers in the world. Let's do this to van. Now, if you're using the app, you're going to see this density list. This is what it's going to look like. It doesn't look as impressive on the computer screen when I do it this way. So we like to do the map because we want to be dramatic. All right, so California's green as the DAT was showing. Texas is green. Arkansas is yellow. Missouri's green. Now Iowa's green here. Let's take a look at what's coming out of Iowa, though. All right, so let's sort this by highest rate. Yeah, they're trying to book into next week. Muscatine to Florida, $2.29 a mile. $2.11 to go to Twin Falls, Idaho. Florida, Pennsylvania. A lot of loads going to Pennsylvania right now. Muscatine to Mulberry, Circle Logistics. Keller Freight, $2.08 a mile to go to Allentown. Not quite. That's not quite good enough, and I'll tell you why. So let's pick this up here. Fort Dodge, Iowa. Now near Camp Dodge, Iowa, is a great burrito place. Let's see, 12 p.m. Picks up at noon tomorrow. Delivers Saturday. They're at 2,300. Cargo Chief's got it at 25. When you look at the tolls, $171 in tolls. Can ends metal. It's a plate trailer, so empty lids is pretty much what this is. What's the weight on this? 38,000. So not too bad. So I noticed that late in the day, everything that was going to Pennsylvania out of the area I was trying to get out of was all 45,000 plus, trying to go to Pennsylvania with $300 with the tolls. Yeah, that's why it's still on the low board, because no one else wanted that as well. $1.95 to go to Texas. Here's one that's kind of low. Iowa City, Iowa, to Schertz, Texas, $1.59 a mile. I don't think that's reasonable. Let's take a look. Cargo Chief's got it about 24, so they're fairly low. Quite a bit low, actually. 2% below my cost per day. Iowa City to Schertz, Texas, that puts you in the Houston market. Kind of. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere there. $7.50 in tolls. Yeah, that's... And then coming out of Schertz, you're not seeing a whole lot. Oh, there's 97 loads coming out of Texas, 20 out of Schertz. So, I don't know. I would ask for more money on that, obviously. Here we go. Muscatine to Austell, Georgia, $2.12 a mile. See, I'd rather take the same tip as 1,700 and go towards Austell, Georgia, because I'm going to have better freight coming out. Grocery items. 2 p.m. picks up at 2. Yeah, this ain't until the end of the month. So we're booking ahead here. Now, let's go to sort by age of the load, which usually what it defaults to. A lot of stuff for today. So these are loads that haven't been covered. 7 minutes. Muscatine to Mulberry. They're having trouble. Wow, they went up a little bit on this. So they're adjusting their rates a little bit. 1,400 to go to North Dakota. So, like I said, Iowa's not great right now. Now, here's a good one. Iowa to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, $2.34 a mile, 427 miles. Let's take a look at this one. Picks up today from Empire Express. It's got 2 stops. That's why. So that's hence for the higher rate. So 2 picks, first come, first serve until 15:30. Seed. So a lot of grass seeds is moving right now. You'll see a lot of that out of Washington State and Michigan too. Let's see, $1.89. See the short stuff that's less than $2. That's not. Yeah, that's why you can't go by strictly by rate per mile. So now we're already into Wednesday, but a lot of stuff for today still posted 16 minutes. We're not even into the hours stuff yet. So they're having trouble moving this Edgewood, the Fremont. So evidently the shipper they've got coming out of Edgewood, they're having trouble moving. It is early. Yet Muscatine to Little Rock, 1,200, 202 a mile. Let's take a look at this one and see if we can get out of Little Rock. Cargo cheese cut is at $14.34. They're at $12. $3.98. So it's above our cost per day by 11%. So 11% profit on this after fuel and carrier cut. Oh, we were going to look at Little Rock. Oh, there's one load out of Little Rock going back to Iowa, but there's Little Rock to anywhere. There's 135 loads. Take a look at those. And let's sort this by highest rate. We'll do rate per mile. There you go. Stuttgart, Arkansas to Brenningsville, PA. $3,000, $270 a mile. That's the highest paying Pennsylvania load I've seen out of this area. That's going to be rice. It's going to be heavy. Rice lands out there. Memphis to Haskell, Oklahoma, $256 a mile, $1,000. $2,200 to go from Boonville to Florida. You can make more money going to Brenningsville, but then the net is going to be a little bit different on that because there's no tolls on the way to Haines City. $2,500 to go to Loveland, Colorado. So $25 to go to Jersey. $27 to go to Connecticut. $16.50 go to Jacksonville from Louisiana. 150-mile deadhead there. You do have to watch the mileage on 123. Stuff going right back to Ohio for $1.84. See, they're not paying to go to the Midwest. Obviously. So, not a bad spot to land, Arkansas. Let's take a look at Missouri. Let's see what my state's doing. Let's sort this by rate per mile. See what the shorties are doing. Kansas City to Olathe, 17 miles for $274. $13 a mile to go from Kansas City to Olathe, Kansas. So you guys can't go by the rate per mile. $13 a mile sounds pretty impressive. If you take it out of context, right? Bunch of the short stuff. So one has to ask why the local carriers aren't doing this. There we go. St. Charles, Coon Rapids, Minnesota. 323 miles, 1721. Let's see what's going on with this load. I used to go up there all the time when I was a company driver. Not 195 cents above cost per day. So let's look at the one pick, 6 drops. Omaha, Akini, Iowa, Waterloo, Iowa, St. Paul, Minnesota, Crystal, Minnesota. So how many days is this load going to take? It's shopping carts. Again, St. Charles, Missouri shopping carts. Those are always going to be your highest. They got several of these. So you're going to have to do your math. $288 a mile to come out of Joplin to go to Colorado Springs. Pomona, Missouri to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So not bad on these rates. You know, when you sort this by rate per mile and you're already getting into the long haul stuff, that's a good sign. That's a good trend to see coming up. $251 a mile to go to Illinois. $245 a mile to go to Philly. But that's not until next month. So now we're getting into next month here, and that's... So these rates are coming up as we get later in the month. So what does that tell you? That they know that rates are going to need to be higher next month. So that's a good sign. That's you guys should take a deep breath, man. It'll be okay. You'll be all right. Until you're not. But, you know, hey. All right, let's take a look at reefer here. Let's see what DIY is dealing with. I haven't heard from him in a while. I know he said hi here lately. Said hi in the chat. Pop Tart, what's up? Good morning. Downsize like down and out. There is going to be a wacky boom on a dangerous horizon. Lock and load. Storm's coming. Yeah, I've been saying that for a while. Removed all of our tags on our local trucks because of tolls. We run them all day and night here in Raleigh. We've been stopped several times for it, but it's cheaper to pay the $120 fine for not having a tag on the commercial motor vehicle. It's just cheaper than paying the tolls. That's interesting. Show me state. I'm too cynical to hear it. SST, what's up? Good morning. All right, so this is Reefer. Reefer looks like a checkerboard here. It's all over the place. So let's take a look at Wisconsin. And let's sort this by age. Let's see what they're posting right now. Some stuff for today and tomorrow. A lot of it for tomorrow. Some for next week. All right, so let's sort this by rate per mile. See if we can get into some long haul stuff here. All right. Pleasant Prairie to Washington Courthouse, 425 miles, 1677. That seems pretty decent. Not until next week, but hey, let's take a look at this load. Got to be a reason why it's higher. Pick up by appointment only, set for 5:22 at 2:15 p.m. Delivery for 5:23 2 p.m. Drivers must track for entire duration of load or subject to fines. $125 late fee if 30 minutes late to either appointment. Contact this email address at ryder.com after hours if needed. It's -10. It's frozen. And I'm wondering if that's going to Walmart. I know there's a couple of receivers there. There's also a dog or a pet food plant there in Washington Courthouse as well. My guess it's probably Walmart, and that's a contracted load. 326 go to Shelbyville, Indiana, Illinois, Hartford, Wisconsin, Addison, Illinois. Just a quick $400. Tulane, New York, from Green Bay, 2,700, 310 a mile. Lodi to Erlanger, Kentucky. Portage to Elkton, Maryland. They're only paying $275 a mile going to the Bronx. I don't know about that. I live in a toll highway. That's why I told you that. Yes, it's interesting, but everybody here does it. DOT doesn't bother you, but don't do that on the OTR trucks. Let's see. Greenwood, Wisconsin to Bronx, New York. Picks up on the 20th. Delivers 2 days later, 8 a.m. 43.5 on the weight. Chilled, set temp per BOL. So we don't know what it is. 100% above my cost per day. But of course, my cost per day is not based off a reefer operation. So that's a misleading number. But you're looking to profit about $7.15. I'm sorry, earn $7.15 a day on this load, with a net of $14.30 after carriers cut and tolls. Tolls are $305. So let's sort this by age. Let's see what they're trying to push at the last minute here. Ooh, we're already in the 28th, 24th. Some for today. Green Bay to Olathe, 241 a mile, $1,600. Hartford to Melrose Place. Again, that's that 308 a mile. Jefferson to Frederick, Maryland, 1900, 247 a mile. Milwaukee to Springfield, Ohio, 260 mile, that's going to be probably Aldi. Salt Lake, that might be Costco, this Axle Logistics load. And they're not putting a rate on it, which means they want you to name the price. My guess it might be Costco. But getting out of Salt Lake will be a challenge. Yeah, Salt Lake to anywhere, 28 loads. 25. 25. It's hard to read that number in this light, especially when I'm not wearing my glasses. So, all right, let's take a look at flatbed. What have I said about flatbed? Southeast. Let's take a look at the southeast here. Oh, look, it looks exactly like the DAT map almost. So let's take a look at Georgia. A lot of stuff for today, tomorrow, Friday. Nothing in the next week. A lot of stuff for today. That's good. What's this? Cordell, Georgia to Graybill, Indiana, $1.39 a mile. I believe this is misquoted. Or it's a partial and they've put it as a truckload. Yeah, this is no bueno. Oh. Hold on a second. I had to let my dog out. Let's do this by highest rate per mile. Actually, no, let's do highest rate. Oh, look, they've just posted 5 new loads. Now, I look to see a lot of, once they start rebuilding that bridge, I look to see a lot of material going into Baltimore area, but also look for a lot of material to come out of Baltimore because of that bridge. Let's see, let's sort this by highest rate. See where the long haul, the high big pan stuff is. 6,200 to go from Blackshear, Georgia to Washington. $47.50 to go to Maine out of Atlanta. Rome to Buena Vista, Colorado. 3,700. $2.30 a mile to go from Rome, Georgia to Buena Vista, Colorado. Let's see, Pendergrass to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, 2,900. All these loads are above the average here, by the way, except for the ones going to Colorado. 224 back to Wisconsin. Wisconsin's yellow on this map. But then you have Savannah, Georgia, and Minneapolis for considerably less per mile. So they're all over the place with these rates. Here's one that just posted 53 seconds ago. Talmo, Georgia to Ontario, basically. $2.12 a mile, $2,500. Cordell to Wyoming, Michigan. So that's the good part about this being yellow is you know what I would do is I would try to find a lane from like Texas to Ohio to Georgia, like do this triangle. Maybe throw in Indiana and Illinois since they're yellow. And just kind of keep that circle going. That's kind of what I would do, but I'm not a flatbedder, so I could be wrong. Pool Boy says the Bronx rate's down, has home time for newcomer home time, right? Jackknife, what's up? Good morning. I'm enjoying every second of Food Lion's hospitality here in Greencastle, Pennsylvania. I believe that's sarcasm. Pop Tart says new authorities are in for some serious waiting time for pretty much getting started. Yes, that's part of the pruning process that I originally titled this video. It's going to suck for a new authority. New authorities have to wait 180 days now. Don't forget to get some Snow Alert coffee during your break. Need a bag of your coffee for your picture when you turn off your camera. That's a good idea. I did have a bag that sat right here. You know, obviously you don't see that when I've got the screen on, but you're absolutely right. The link for the coffee is in the description there. So Shannon says, "Woo, man, I love this show." No, and Pop Tart goes, "Hey," to Shannon. So there's that. That's it. That's all I got. We've been at this for an hour and 20 minutes. 60 people have showed up. Thank you very much. I appreciate every single person that's gone in here. 48065 if you wish to try out the 123 low board. For free for 30 days. Use my code, and you can, look, don't take my word for it. Look at the loads yourself. You don't need a DOT number to get access to this low board. You do need to be verified before you can post on the low board as a broker. So there's that. So I know that for a fact. But and you need to be verified if you want to post your truck on here. But you can look at it without an MC number. You can be approved to be a subscriber without an MC number. So other than that, there's not much else I got to say. We got Friday coming up, you know, for the next show. And like I said, I'm going to try to do some recorded stuff. I tell other YouTubers not to announce what you're going to try to do and never do it, but I end up doing the same thing. So I'm a hypocrite. So with that being said, strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Do what Shannon says. Hit the like. And yeah. You'll be all right. If not, figure it out, man. And people like me, if you need, look, my email is snowalert@yahoo.com. If you got any questions, feel free to email me. There's also a membership. Make sure you become a member, you know, so I can, you know, pay special attention to you. So with that being said, let's get this show off the road. Later.